Hi everyone and welcome to Homerino Collectibles, where today I am going to be doing a review of the Transformers Generations Armada Starscream. As you can see, it does say it's part of the 30th anniversary, so this is the Series 2 number 11, and then down here we have Skywarp and Autobot Scoop. And then on the back we have a bio for Starscream. It shows that he comes with two Energon swords and he has his Cybertronian jet fighter mode. And then we have some tech specs, so if you want to take a look at those. So that is pretty much it for the packaging. Let's open this thing up and take a closer look. So here is the comic that it comes with, a nice cover art there. This is essentially Dark Cybertron Chapter 1, and one of the most famous, or at least one of the most popular Transformers stories that I know of anyway, is the Lost Light story, whereby we have Nova Prime, and there's a Galvatron and Cyclonus and a few others, and this Jexis or whatever his name is, and so on. And they're basically heading out into space. There's no war or anything right now, and they're essentially going out into space to try and spread their reign, essentially, and just try and create the new golden age of the Transformers. And it's just a really, really awesome comic. I'll just try and flick through this thing and try and find where Starscream is in here, because there's not that much of him. As you can see, there he is right there. I think he appears a little before that, or a little after that, or something. But there's some really awesome appearances. There he is. So there's some really awesome appearances in this. I might actually have to collect this up as a graphic novel once it's obviously, the whole collection's out or whatever. Or if it already is, then I'll go ahead and get it. But I actually really do enjoy this, and unlike a lot of the other comics that come with other figures, yes, it is like a bit of a spotlight whereby he isn't in it very much at all, but the comic itself, I feel that because it's such a popular story with Lost Light and everything, it's just absolutely fantastic, and I think that they did a perfect job of including the perfect comic book with this figure. So here is the figure itself, and just a little bit of knowledge about me. I absolutely adore Transformers Armada. Energon, not quite as much, but I still loved it when I was growing up. And then Cybertron, just completely did not like it whatsoever. Just the whole animation and everything. Like, I preferred like my animation to actually be drawn and not to be, all the 3D animated kind of stuff. I thought Transformers Prime was pretty cool. But yeah, I think Armada and G1 and stuff, I think that those kind of drawing styles were the best, where they're actually drawn. But yeah, I absolutely adore this thing. I never actually got an Armada Starscream when I was a kid. I went to the store once to get my first ever Transformers, and they were Armada Hotshot and Armada Red Alert. Went to one store, it's not around now, but in the UK some of you might know it as Index, but that closed down a long time ago. And basically, they didn't have those two, but they said, okay, but we do have these, and there was a Starscream and a Demolisher, and that was the only Starscream that I have ever seen in my entire life. And at that point, as a little kid, I said, okay, I'll just have them then. And then my parents said, no, it's okay, we'll go to Argus, we'll go to another store, and we'll get the ones that we came out to get. And if they had let me pick those up right then and there, I would have had an Armada Starscream. Never saw one in the flesh ever again since then. So this is absolutely fantastic that that I've finally actually got a version of Armada Starscream, even though it's not the original one. Now, although I obviously adore this thing because of what I just said, by no means at all is this figure perfect, but it will do. It is very, very good nonetheless. So first up, it does have landing gear down here, which you can just fold away. There, and there. So underneath, as you can see, you can't really see too much robot kibble, so that is an improvement over the original Armada version. Obviously, I can't show you them side by side, but hopefully someday I will be able to. So we still have the arms coming down the side here, but the old ones, they essentially just folded up and just kind of stuck out, and they were just really in the way kind of thing. But these, at least come down to the sides and sit nice and flush. And it's just, I think it hides them a little bit better while sticking nice and true to the original figure. That's the great thing about these IDW figures and whatnot that are coming out through generations now, they're sticking to the classic figures or to the shows, but still giving them an updated look, and I think that that's absolutely fantastic. So this is how Starscream looks right now in IDW, and I think it's awesome that they've chosen to use the Armada version of it. So let's come in for some close-up detail here. We have nice Decepticon logos on both wings. The head is nicely covered up inside here. And then we have a really nice cockpit right there. Awesome detail. Actually does have a molded seat and flight console and everything in there. So the nose is actually rubber, but it's actually quite hard rubber. So it's not going to break if it gets dropped on the nose. It's not going to snap. So I guess that's why they did it. But it is hard enough to maintain the shape and everything. It's not a soft pliable rubber that would just bend and it'll come out the package just completely ruined. It is a hard rubber and practically feels like plastic anyway, but that's just this bottom section right here. Like I said, I'm guessing just so that it doesn't break if it gets dropped. Now a feature in this mode is the firing missiles. Now they kind of push in, so you can have it look like that, and obviously if you just push it a little bit out, then these don't obtrude too much. They are clear orange, and you can see the missiles in them. They are friction fire missiles, so you just fire it just like so. So the missiles aren't super powerful. That's what they look like. They've got some molded detail on them all the way along actually, so they look alright. So as for a size comparison, here is the Classics version of a Seeker mold. This is Starscream, and basically pretty much every Transformers collector will have a version of this in whatever character paint scheme, whether it's Starscream or Thundercracker or Skywarp or whoever it is. Most people will have this, so I figured it would be the best thing for a size comparison. But as you can see, it is bigger, and that is a bit of a shame, really, because lots of people will say that this figure right here is a bit outdated now, and they should really be bringing out a Voyager Starscream. So, okay, we get the War for Cybertron version of Starscream, which is fine because he fits in with all the other War for Cybertron figures as being a deluxe, and that was perfectly fine. But then we get this. The original version of this, the Armada version, was, I think, actually a leader. Not even a Voyager, a leader class figure. But he may have been a Voyager, so don't quote me on that, but I think he was a leader. And then they bring out this deluxe, which is just small. And I don't care about, oh, deluxes are getting smaller these days, or oh, this, that, and the other, I don't care about that. But I do care when it comes to the fact that they're trying to imitate a figure or reference a character in a figure that was once a hugely bigger Transformer than this, and then they've just made it deluxe. I just really don't understand it. So anyway, let's get on to the transformation, and basically what you want to do is just wiggle out these legs, or it's what I like to do first anyway, and just fold them out and just kind of get them out of the way a little bit. And then with the wings here, we can just fold them and bring the arms down like so. There we go. And then now what we're going to do is just move this down like so. That kind of reveals the head there. And then you see this yellow bit that the legs were on. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to move this down, and that's going to clip into place right there. And then we can bring the nose down, and that it doesn't clip into anything, but it just kind of sits there. And then we can just put the head in place, swivel the legs around like so, and then the feet, we just want to get the heels out of the feet there, like so. There's one. Just reach in there and get the other one out. There's that one. And then these knee pieces, they just get pushed in a little bit, like that, just to hide them. And then the hands, we've got to pull those out, like so. And that is pretty much Armada Starscream fully transformed. So this guy looks absolutely fantastic, I have to say. It's just really, really incredible what they've done with the design of this guy. They've kind of updated it, and it just looks absolutely incredible. Now, there is a Takara version of this which is a lot more accurate paint scheme wise to the actual original figure. But figure-wise, if you want to be accurate to the older figure, then definitely go for the Takara one if you can find it, and if you can find it at a better price. Because there's no point in paying more than this one, I feel. Because I feel that the Takara one is actually slightly worse, because although the paint scheme is more accurate, with just a bit more white and whatnot on here, you see this yellow bit in here? On the Takara one, it's blue, and it just stands out, and there's just no reason for it whatsoever. In fact, I don't really like that being yellow on this one. And then we've got these bits inside here that yellow, which I don't mind too much about. But this bit here being yellow, I just don't see why it's there. I really just wish that that was red so that it suits it, you know, it just fits in with everything else. I really wish that that was red, but it's not. But that's one of the only complaints that I have with this figure, to be honest. Now, as you can see, and as you saw in vehicle mode as well, you've got the Minicon ports here and here, and then on the top here and here. So my other major complaint is the fact that recently we got a Minicon team from Generations, but this, an Armada figure, the series that spawned the Minicons, it doesn't come with one. Now, if it was a bigger figure, they would have probably included the proper thing here, whereby it could come with Swindle, and you could put it on, and it could flip these weapons forward, and he could do his super laser cannon, whatever it was called, and that would have been awesome. But as it stands, they've just got these, you know, missiles in here, and that's that. So they give you Minicon ports. That's a thumbs up. I definitely welcome the Minicon ports. But the fact that you know, for a start, it doesn't even come with a Minicon, and the fact that, you know, there's not actual anything that you can do with a Minicon, I think that fans of the Armada series like myself, I think it's kind of a letdown, to be honest with you. You know, I expect to be able to use Minicons to at least, you know, fire something or use it as some kind of feature with this guy, instead of just plugging it to him and pretending that it's powering him up. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. I'm glad that they included them, but it's just, to me, a bit of a joke that they haven't even included anything like that. And then another thing that you might like, but I don't, is the fact that these swords are stored on the back of the wings here, and if I just unpeg them, they store very nicely here and very out of the way. Now, with the original Starscream, the figure and in the show, his sword would be this wing right here, and it would literally, the wing would unplug and it would unfold. So they have actually made it so that these unfold, but this one unfolds perfectly, but the other one, just like I have seen with others as well, as you unfold it, it unclips like that. Now, they unclip very easily, and they clip back together very easily. You know, you just literally just clip them back together, like so. But I don't like that, because it's happened to lots of people's, whereby sometimes they just unclip like that as you fold them, so you just got to be a bit careful with it. But on the whole, it's fine. But it just would have been made so much better and so much more accurate to the actual figure in the actual show if they actually made the wing be the sword. Because that was accurate, and then when he powered up the sword, when it became energized, it glowed blue. This isn't blue, this is orange. So as you can see, I have quite a few complaints of just nitpicks of wanting it to be accurate to the old figure and to the actual character. So you do get the two swords, so you can have him wield a sword in both hands. I think that the length is perfectly fine for a deluxe. Obviously, it was bigger. I would want a bigger sword, but I think that works for a deluxe figure. And like I said, the other one is there on the wing too, and as you can see, it stores very nicely, and it doesn't look too bare without it. So I think, yes, it's a bit of a plus, that the fact that you can keep his wing there whilst he's using his swords. But to me, as a fan of the Armada series, it's not accurate and I don't like it. But that's not knocking the figure. 100%, this figure is an absolutely fantastic figure, and I'm so happy with it. But I just think that they could have made it so much better if they made it more accurate. That's all I mean by that, really. So basically, obviously, you can still use these missiles in this form, but something that you can do with this is you can make it look a bit sleeker, because they're on a hinge, and they kind of tab in onto the top here, and you can literally move them down and just slot them across the back. So you don't have to have these things sticking out if you don't want to. And I think that looks fantastic. And then you get these pieces that look a bit more like a kind of classic Starscream kind of look with those bits sticking up there. So as for some close-up detail here, the head looks absolutely awesome. I love the look of this head. The only problem is, I mean, he does have light piping and it does work pretty well in this well-lit area. Obviously I used two big umbrella light professional photography light things for this, but it still doesn't light it up fantastically. Even though the entire back of his head is orange, it doesn't, light up amazingly well, but it does work enough. But I do wish that they just painted it and then you just got an all black head. I feel that would have been much better. But I really do love the rest of the detail here on the figure. It just looks really, really awesome. And I am really, really happy with this thing. Another thing I like about these, because due to transformation it's on a ball joint from turning it, you can have them like this, or you can put them out on an angle, or you can push them completely back. You can really change the look of this guy just by moving those wings, so that's awesome. So as for articulation, the head moves left and right and up and down, and because of the transformation the neck also moves up, so you can really get him looking up nice and high for some flight poses. And then in the shoulder the arms move all the way up and they have this nice bit of added in detail under there, so it looks like the arm is still connected all the way out to there, so that looks awesome. And then you get the forward and back at that shoulder joint, and then we also have a bicep movement, and also we have a left and right swivel right there. And then due to transformation the wrists go in and out. No waist, but that's not too bad. And then the legs go all the way out on kind of a universal joint, so if you move this back, obviously they can move all the way back because they're on a ball joint there, so that's absolutely fantastic. We have a thigh swivel, we have a single jointed knee, but it moves all the way back because of transformation, so that's awesome. And then the feet rotate forward and back, and if you notice they are on an angle, so he kind of naturally stands with a slightly wider pose. So as for a size comparison, as you can see, he actually stands a little bit taller, if not just about the same size as the Classics version of Starscream. So even though in jet mode it was much smaller, in robot mode it actually does get a bit bigger in size. So this stacks up great for other deluxe figures, but when you stack it up next to Armada figures, as you can see, even deluxe versions, so these deluxes obviously came out 2004, something like that, so this is Cyclonus right here from Armada, should be about the same size if you look at him from the show. And then if I move him away, here is Demolisher, and he should also be about the same size, if not a little bit smaller. So clearly this guy as a deluxe to fit in with older Armada figures does look a little bit strange. With newer stuff it's perfectly fine, so as a kind of IDW collection it's perfectly fantastic, but with older figures it does look a bit strange. So if you have an Armada collection, you don't have an original Starscream like me, still trying to track down the original Starscream figure is probably the best way to go. So overall, I definitely recommend this figure. I think it's awesome for Armada fans. It's awesome for people who read the comics now and they just think that this is just the new version of Starscream. It's an awesome figure. It's got great articulation, so you can pose it, you can play with it. It's fantastic in that sense, and much better than the older version. But in the kind of sense of nostalgia and everything, the fact that you can't use a Minicon to actually fire anything or anything like that, they just kind of give you the ports so you can just attach them to him, and the fact that the wing doesn't turn into the blade and things like that, those kind of things are a little bit of a letdown, but not really massively, because it's still fantastic. It's still awesome to get something that's reminiscent of one of Starscream's most popular versions, and it's just absolutely epic in my opinion, and you should definitely go out and buy one if you're a fan of Armada like me. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to check out more pictures from my collection, then go ahead and follow Homerino123 on Instagram and Twitter. And to see more Transformers reviews, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.